Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Today, I'm testing if Dying Light 2 can run on Intel UHD graphics with an Intel Core i3, 11th gen processor, and 8 GB of RAM. Now, let's talk about the settings. I set everything to the lowest possible. The resolution is 720p, FSR is set to performance mode, and sharpness is at 100. In the advanced settings, I selected DirectX 11 as the rendering mode. You can try DirectX 12. It might boost your FPS, but in my case, it didn't help. Textures and particles can't be set lower than medium. Also, make sure the LOD range multiplier is set to 75. This can improve your FPS. As for glow, light streak, and lens flare, keep them turned on. They don't impact performance in-game. Now, let's talk about gameplay. First things first, let's be clear about one thing. FPS in Dying Light 2 fluctuates a lot, depending on where you are in the world, what you're doing, and even what time of day it is in-game. The frame rate changes constantly. So if you're expecting consistent performance, that's not going to happen on a low-end PC. But let's break it down section by section to give you a better idea of what to expect. Let's start indoors. When you're inside buildings or smaller rooms, the game performs a bit better. FPS here stays around 25, though it sometimes dips below 20 in more cluttered areas or during quick movements. Still, it's one of the more stable areas to play in, especially early on in the game. Now let's talk about forest and jungle areas. Surprisingly, performance here is a little worse. You're likely to get around 20 FPS, and in some places it may feel laggy due to foliage, lighting effects, and distant details. It's also important to note that recording gameplay affect FPS very little, so expect little more FPS. Now, what about being outside in open-world areas? When you're running around in open environments or doing parkour across rooftops, the FPS usually stays close to 20. That's not ideal, but it's consistent enough that you can get used to it over time. However, performance improves drastically once you go underground. Tunnels and basements are where things start to feel smoother. Inside tunnels, FPS often jumps up to 25 or even 30, and in some areas, it can even cross 30 FPS, depending on how enclosed the space is. If you're exploring tight, dark areas or doing missions underground, the game can actually feel quite responsive. Now let's talk about parkour and combat. When you're doing parkour in tunnels or smaller indoor spaces, sometimes the FPS increases, but not always. It really depends on how much is happening on screen. During fights in tunnels, FPS tends to stay the same, hovering around 25 FPS with only minor drops. But then comes the real challenge, the city of Vildur. This is where performance really starts to dip. When you're doing parkour in the city, especially during the day with lots of NPCs and activity, FPS often drops to around 20, sometimes even lower. There's a lot going on in Vildur: shadows, AI, draw distance, and it all takes a toll on low-end systems. So what's the final verdict? Yes, Dying Light 2 can run on a low-end PC, but it's not a smooth experience. Expect average FPS to be in the 20 to 25 range, depending on the environment. Enclosed areas like tunnels and basements perform the best, while outdoor city areas like Vildur are the most demanding. If you're okay with inconsistent FPS, occasional stutters, and very low graphics settings, the game is still playable and enjoyable, especially for exploration and story missions. Just don't expect high performance, and be ready for those FPS drops when you hit the more demanding areas. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments how Dying Light 2 runs on your PC. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more low-end PC tests.